Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to another tier list making video. Why? Because, I don't know, I just had fun doing the adult animated series and I just wanted to do another one. So here we are. This time, we're talking about something that's not necessarily all that controversial. I'm kidding, of course. This is the most controversial list I'll probably be making in this trilogy, at least for now, of all these things. Star Wars, that's right. Now, there are some good in both camps, and there are some bad in both camps. You can't you have to acknowledge that, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, people back in the day when, the first Star Wars were coming out, everyone was kind of like, oh, this Empire Strikes Back is trash. But nowadays, it's like the best Star Wars movie of all time. So there you go. That's kind of a spoiler for later. But anyway, there is trash in both camps, prequels and sequels. And believe it or not, there are some good, unlike what Star Wars Theory is kind of entailing here. And I'm not going to dive into that. But let's just say if I had the choice of collabing with someone, I would not be collabing with him. So, without further ado, let's begin this tier list. Starting with, fitting enough, The Phantom Menace. Now, here's the thing, right? There are some really fantastic ideas in this movie. Like, for instance, the whole thing with the, the underwater civilization thing underneath Queen Amidala's home planet or something. Naboo, there we go. The underwater civilization, that is just creatively amazing. I cannot stress that enough. There is a lot of great things within this film. It's just that there's a lot of not so good things. Like, for instance, the whole little Greedo thing. The fact that there's not really a main character in this entire film. Technically, it's Anakin, but he doesn't arrive until like 40 minutes into this 2-hour film. So, there's that. I don't know. None of the characters really make sense. There's force powers that aren't explained at all in the previous movies. Or in this movie. Like Jedi fast moving, like Jedi running or whatever, because George was like, how do I get them out of here? Oh, force fast thing, whatever. Kids love it. And yeah, I guess kids did love it because it's the first Star Wars film to gross $1 billion at the box office. I know. I'm shocked. I am as shocked as you are. Technically, it was a re-release, but still, it's the first one. So there you go. There are some interesting ideas. It just was terribly written. And the acting is just, for many world-class actors and actresses, are probably the worst performances they've ever made. I'm not going to talk about Jake Lloyd because he's a kid, or he was a kid when this film was made. It's not really his fault. He needed a stronger director. Yeah, I said it. George just sat in the chair and was directing in the chair. Not really whatever. And plus, you can cut this film out of your watching of the, all the Star Wars films, and you wouldn't really miss a whole lot. You just I plus the midichlorians, yeah, I don't know. So with that being said, there are some interesting ideas. Because there's interesting ideas, I'm putting it in C tier, although I would say it's technically awful. There are some interesting ideas to it. I don't like it. The CGI is awful. It's borderline D. borderline F, honestly, if I really pinpoint it here, but because it's Star Wars, it's a little bit better, especially the unspecialized edition of The Phantom Menace with Puppet Yoda. I'm sorry, Puppet Yoda will always be great, in my opinion. So there you go. Attack of the Clones. They got rid of Jar Jar, but that's basically it. This entire film is basically Toys the movie. How can we put more toys into this movie? And it's so infuriating. This is the Clone Wars? Really? This is how the Clone Wars started? Okay. Yeah, it's the most boring one. This is the most melodramatic one of this entire thing. They don't even really do a whole bunch of war-y things. They just sit in chairs and talk about melodramatic crap. It's basically puts the soap opera in space opera. That's this movie. And it's really, really dry. Hayden Christensen is not that good in this movie. I'm sorry. Yeah, I said it. Plus, there's some grooming in this movie with Padme or whatever being a senator now. And she can't marry anyone because she's a senator. And I don't know. A lot of rules that George made to the Jedi that don't make sense. And I don't think he really thought about this when he was making the original trilogy. So there you go. But anyway, yeah. That being said, you can still watch this and, you know, not really hate yourself watching it necessarily, even though the CGI is just awful. It's not bad to look at necessarily. It's just bad to listen to. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to put it in D tier. It's not good. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. Revenge of the Sith. This is obviously the best of the prequels. This is the best the prequels have ever made. And it only got better as Disney Star Wars, and I'm saying this, Disney Star Wars made it better. Yeah, they did. Come at me, but they did, okay? Season 7 of the Clone Wars would never have happened without Disney. There, I said it. The Bad Batch never have happened without Disney. I said it. What else? Tales of the Jedi would never have happened without Disney. There, I said it. So, there you go. The Star Wars Clone Wars, that micro series would have happened without Disney because it did happen without Disney. So, there you go. Anyway, with putting all the other stuff to the side, this is the story George wanted to tell the entire time. Technically, but he did have creative control over these previous 2 films. So technically, he could make this movie if he really wanted to, being Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. He could have, if he really wanted to, but he decided not to. I don't know why. Leave it up to George's point of view or whatever. But anyway, I would say this is the best the prequels have ever been. There's still melodramaticness. There's still trash CGI, even though CGI got a lot better. But there's still some scenes where CGI is a little at least in my eyes. It's more exciting. There's a lot more stakes. It's a tragic story. And it's pretty well told, honestly. And there's a scene in this film that's probably the best directed scene in the entire prequels where Anakin and Padme are just looking out into the windows. They're not really looking at each other, but they're just looking at each other. But they're looking in, I don't know, Coruscant or something, and they're just kind of sad and all that. And it's so gripping. George can direct if he really wanted to. He just doesn't want to. There, I said it. Come at me in the comments. I don't care. Anyway, though, this is a pretty decent movie. It's not the best thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. but it's up there, and I'm gonna put it in the good category. Yeah, and maybe it's because I watched all the, other prequel stuff. That's like, Clone Wars Season 7 or whatever, and Tales of the Jedi and all that. Maybe that's influencing it. I don't know, but I don't care. This film is actually decent. It's decent. A New Hope, the movie that birthed it all. My gosh, man. Come on now. I mean, come on now. This is a fabulous film, okay? It's a perfect beginning to end. It's basically the hero's journey in one film, but the hero's journey actually takes place in 3 films. But this, if it was just by itself, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, okay? If Star Wars began and ended with this one film, no regrets. No regrets, if you will. So, obviously, S tier, okay? Obvious S tier. Empire Strikes Back, oh my gosh, man. Come on now. Come on. Come on now. Come on now. Are you kidding me right now? Come on now. Best film that this series has ever made, okay? Come on now. Awesome. Beautiful. Amazing work. And this is where all the memes basically come from, for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of memes that come from this, but there's I Am Your Father line. There's the Frozen Kryptonite thing. I mean, it just built upon the first one and made it even better. And you know what? The Empire Strikes Back, unlike Attack of the Clones, where the clones kind of attack maybe at the final 10 minutes of the film, The Empire Strikes Back throughout the film. So for that, of course, it's a little bit above the original Star Wars in my opinion, but it's just that good. Okay, come on now. It's that good. We also get Lando. We get Boba Fett. Okay, come on now. Do I even have to say anything else? I mean, come on now. I'm making myself laugh as I do this. Anyway, though. Return of the Jedi. Now listen, okay? There is 2/3 of a great film in this film, okay? 2/3 of this film is as good as the previous 2, okay? Listen. But there are some hokiness. There is a little bit of a childish thing here. The Ewoks are a little you know? The what is it? The fact that Leia keeps on changing her dresses because you gotta sell more of those Leia dolls, you know? The whole Jabba the Hutt thing, although great puppeteering and all that, it's just kind of very sporadic. But that's really it. I mean, most of this film is basically about nature overtaking technology, which is something that the Lord of the Rings tackled. And that came out way before, the first Star Wars. But that's a big staple in fantasy, and that brings in the fantasy in sci-fi, okay? In the space fantasy, okay? Listen. And, what else? What else is there? Oh, Luke and Vader's redemption and all that. Chef's kiss. My gosh. The Emperor. My gosh. Are you kidding me right now? But then also you gotta, the fact that Leia was Luke's brother the whole time, and that's a little, mainly because in the second film, they kissed. So there's that. Incest in Star Wars. I mean, come on now. But the good far outweighs the bad. However, all that being said, putting it in A tier, it's just borderline there, man. This is like maybe next day, maybe tomorrow, I'll put it in S tier. But for now, because there's a lot of weird things in it, I'm putting it A tier. But it's like A++ level, okay? Don't get me wrong. A++ level, okay? Here we go. All right. And we come to the most divisive trilogy so far, The Force Awakens. Basically, a reinterpretation of A New Hope, similar beats and all that. But that being said, the prequels gave such a horrid taste in people's mouths that they kind of had to do this. They kind of had to fall back on the fact that, yeah, this is going to be a new trilogy, not like the prequels, but it's going to be something better. Unfortunately, they didn't land with that, but all that being said, it's a fun romp. I'm not gonna lie. But to be fair, yes, it's a little derivative, but at the same time, you had to wash out the garbage that was the prequels. I'm sorry. Yeah, the prequels sucked. Overall, the prequels were terrible. I'm just saying it right there. But anyway, though, this film, finally, Harrison Ford died. He wanted to die since The Empire Strikes Back. He finally died. You actually felt like he was acting, and he felt like he was loving Star Wars again. It's it's very interesting. And Leia, they got the Han and Leia's, kind of hug there. And you know what? I'm all for that. You also got a little bit of Luke at the end there. Little tease at the very end. And you know what? That's the closest we're going to get to a reunited trio here, which is unfortunate, especially because Harrison Ford will never come back to these films ever again. Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed away. Yeah, there's no way. So that's the closest thing. Also, Rey, Finn, and Poe are actually pretty interesting in this film. They don't stay that way in later renditions of this trilogy, but Rey and Ben Solo, I gotta say, they're pretty interesting in this film. I'm not gonna lie, sue me, whatever. There's campy jokes like Marvel used to do, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. It's got a soft space. It's got a soft spot in my heart here. Okay. Come at me in the comments. I don't care. But this film, A tier. Yeah. It's up there with Return of the Jedi. Yep. I said it. There you go. Anyway. The Last Jedi. The most divisive film in this entire sequel saga. Oh boy. Here we go. Now, some people love this film. Some people hate this film. A lot of prequel people, Star Wars Theory, really hate this film. I'm somewhere in the middle, honestly, because there are three different storylines in this. First, we got Poe. Poe's, fighting the First Order in space, basically, with Leia for the most part and all that. It's interesting. It's not the best that this series or even this film has to have, but it's not terrible either. It's fine. It's just fine. I would like it better if it didn't have that stupid plot with Poe trying to, challenge his authority and all that, which we have seen in countless media since the first trilogy, even. I hated that plot point, but other than that, it was fairly decent. I like the fighting. I like that we saw different things. Like, what if a spaceship went into hyperspace while fighting a war and all that? We saw, like, every ship just, like, being cut in half. I like that. Sue me. But I will give him this. The Las Vegas, Monte Carlo, whatever planets that Finn and Rose go to. Which, by the way, Rose, not that bad of a character. I said it. But anyway, where Finn and Rose go, that whole planet thing is just kind of stupid. It's not imaginative at all. It's really dumb. And yeah, there you go. I thought Finn and Rose's storyline with, Benicio del Toro, I thought that was really good. It was figuring out this gray aspect to Star Wars, which Star Wars was always black and white. I thought it was interesting. Up until Benicio del Toro was like, yeah, I'm a bad guy. I'm fully a bad guy. Sorry. And then sells him out and all that. And I thought, oh, come on now. No. Then they kind of revert everything back to, like, the status quo, being all like, yeah, Star Wars is just black and white. No gray. No gray at all. Rey and Luke's storyline, though, I mean, come on. Come on. That is the most epic that any of the prequels have ever been. And I will die on this hill. It is the best. Also, there's new things with the Force. Oh no, new things with the Force. What the heck? It's not like you got midi-chlorians or anything like that in the prequels, but you hate the fact that you can telepathically, are linked to other people within the galaxy. Oh no. What to do, Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, I refuse that, okay? The Force is always constantly evolving. I like that aspect of it. There you go. Anyway, though. But yeah, the final thing when they're trying to reset everything. Yeah, we introduced gray elements, but yeah, there's no gray elements here. It's just black and white. And Snoke tragically dies. I don't even know what the hell he was. It's a little iffy. I'd say half of it's good, half of it's amazing, and half of it's good, amazing. Let me try to say this. 20%, no, 45% of it is okay. 5% is just awful. And yeah, for that, I'm going to put it in the good category. Same with Revenge of the Sith. Sue me, I dare you. I'm kidding. Anyway, yeah, now Rise of Skywalker. My gosh. All the sequel hates, I don't get. But if it's specifically for the Rise of Skywalker, I will be the first in line for that, because this film is just absolute trash. It is awful. And I was in the theater with one of my friends, actually. The first Star Wars film I've ever seen in the theater. And I was expecting the Emperor to come back, but they explained it in the title crawl. And they don't explain it. They don't explain how he came back in this film at all. That was atrocious. I thought there was no way. There's no way that can happen in this iteration of Star Wars. And it did. And I was dumb shocked. I was dumb shocked that they did that. Basically, J.J. Abrams just reset the entire storyline, gave us what we wanted with less Rose, got Ben and Rey's, like, love and all that, and I was like, ah, yeah, no. And then we got Rey as like a Palpatine and all that. I was like, no. And a lot of it was like National Treasure, not even Indiana Jones, but National Treasure levels of like treasure hunting in this film. That was all in the worst ways. We finally got Lando. Lando was pretty good. But yeah, this film was just then we got, I can't even explain this, but we got Death Star machines on like Star Destroyers, like an entire fleet of them. My gosh, what the heck? What the hell is this? It's just fan fiction now. I can't even believe it anymore. Anyway, yeah, okay. But that being said, this is the worst Star Wars film I've ever seen. But I would put it just underneath Attack of the Clones. Yeah, I said it. Come at me. Because Attack of the Clones was a boring fest. The Rise of Skywalker was just what the hell fest, you know? You can technically watch these films, but you won't get much out of them. I said it. There you go. Anyway, though, onward to something better. Something we got from Disney, Star Wars. I know, shocking. Something good. Wow. Star Wars Visions. Now, this is sort of the first season of this, at least, was very anime inspired. All the different renditions of anime just within this one season, and I loved it. I'm not even a huge anime fan, but I loved every piece of media that was in this film, or in this series, like, season. I don't even know what... I'm just having a stroke over here, I'm sorry. Anyway, but yeah, we got Studio Ghibli levels, okay? And we got, like, My Hero Academia levels of action within some of these shorts and all that, okay? One of the best animated Star Wars thing of all time is probably that one action scene with the twins and all that. One on the dark side, one on the light, and it was just... I love it. Then we got Season 2. And Season 2 was all around the world. And we got some amazing studios to do some amazing works within this world. Like Aardman made a Star Wars short. Come on now, okay? The same people who made Song of the Sea, Wolfwalkers, they made a short in this, and I got, oh my gosh, spectacular. In fact, there are a few okay shorts, but that's it, okay? They're just okay. And they're only okay because of the level that this show has become, okay? This show is peak Star Wars. I love it, okay? Even the really weird and kind of stupid band thing that's like the second episode of the first season that was like Jabba the Hutt is wanting to judge bands like American Idol or something. Even that, it's pretty good. There you go. So yeah, obviously S tier, okay? S tier Star Wars. I said it. There you go. Anyway, though, onward and upward. Star Wars Resistance. Now listen. I've watched this show. It's fine. It's nothing that's going to, tear you at the seams or anything. It's not necessarily... It's more kiddish, right? It's not like The Bad Batch. It's not like The Clone Wars. It's not like Rebels, even, which I am a fanatic fan of Rebels. We'll get to it. This is just a kind of a sort of serialized type of show with even worse animation. I don't know what Lucasfilm has with their animation, I mean, you know, Star Wars Visions was kind of outsourced and all that, but Lucasfilm and their animation is just kind of meh, in my opinion. This animation is just worse. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the weird movements that they have now. I don't really... Sort of a blend of, like, live action and animation. I don't like it. But I will say, I'd rather watch this than Attack of the Clones or The Rise of Skywalker. So, guess what? We're filling it out, kind folks. C tier. It's a C tier. Andor, my gosh, man. My gosh. You think Disney is just obliterating Star Wars? I mean, come on. Come to the heck on, man. You got Andor here, okay? A show that is basically Game of Thrones, but Star Wars. My gosh. We got the first we got the first... okay, I'll say it. Shit. You know, we got that first bomb in Star Wars. We've never heard that word in Star Wars before. Now we do. Come on now. Come on now. No, there's barely any Force users in this show. It's mostly just regular people. Come on now. Awesome. Awesome show. Come on now. I probably said come on now like more times than I should have. But seriously, though, this show is just amazing. And they're going to end it with season 2. And I hate that. But here we are. This is the world we live in these days. With all that being said, I don't think... Wait, hang on. It's season 2 of Andor air yet? Let me double check real fast. Andor season 2. I don't think... Nope, it has not. So, yeah. It's likely delayed until 2025. Okay, so yeah, I didn't miss it. So, yeah. We're only judging season 1 right now. Amazing. Just amazing. This is Star Wars. This is what Star Wars... This is dark Star Wars. And you know what? Again, I know, another Disney thing. S tier. S tier. Yeah, I said it. I put it there. Now, is it better than Visions? Nothing is going to beat Empire Strikes Back. I'm just going to... Spoiler alert right there. But is it going to beat Visions for me? I don't know. It's neck and neck. I personally enjoy the animation and the different styles of animation and different stories more than I do with this one story thing. But this is a really solid one story. That's why it's a S tier, okay? But still, fabulous. The Clone Wars film. You want to talk about how Disney's ruining Star Wars? This movie, the only reason this movie was made was because George thought that the first 4 episodes of the Clone Wars TV show should be a movie because he wanted it. They didn't have the animation. They didn't have the money necessary to make it film-worthy, but they did it anyway because George wanted it. Okay? Come on. No. I don't want to hear anything about Disney anymore. Anyway. This film is so boring. It almost turned me off of the Clone Wars TV show. That's how bad it is, kind folks. And, yeah. I mean, there's some elements to it that's decent. Like, for instance, you got the introduction of Ahsoka. Yeah, she's a little annoying here. Yeah. But you got more of a Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship and all that. You dove in a little bit of things there, but then there are some things that are just like, what the hell are you guys thinking? What are you guys smoking over there? Because there's like this Louisiana, accented Jabba the Hutt thing, person, Jabba the Hutt's uncle or something. Huh? No, they should not talk like this. Why does he talk like this? No. So for those reasons, I'm gonna put it F tier. probably the only F tier, honestly. Because yeah, that's oh gosh, that is just ugh. I can't stand it. The Mandalorian. Season 1, great. Season 2, even better. I said it, even better. Season 3, sort of a mixed bag. You got some good, but you got some bad too, you know? But if I'm gonna rate this entire show overall, I gotta say, it made me fall in love with Star Wars again. Back when, you know, we got The Rise of Skywalker, and, you know, Star Wars was kind of in a rut. The Mandalorian Season 2 brought it back. It brought it back to the spotlight, and it made it awesome again. Luke, in Season 2, awesome. We got Ahsoka in live action for the first time, played by Rosario Dawson. Awesome. Okay, come on now. Come on to the now. Amazingness. There's amazingness in this show. It's like a spaghetti western. Come on now. It's great. It's great. In fact, because A tier says great, we're putting it in great tier. In fact, I'm going to put it above The Force Awakens. Now, the only reason why it's not S tier is because of Season 3 and it's kind of a mixed bag. It's kind of like a meh, yeah. But otherwise, it's great. Fabulous. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, there's a lot of filler in this show. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of filler in this show. There's people that love it, people that hate it. I'm on the love camp because this is what I wanted the prequels to be this whole time, okay? And it explains things that I didn't think needed explaining between episode 3 and 4, but it explains a lot. Like, you know, why didn't Anakin kind of use a lot of revenge on Obi-Wan and all that when they met in the Death Star or whatever? That's because he did it here, okay? And why didn't Obi-Wan, you know, say anything about Leia or whatever? Because, or you know, why didn't Obi-Wan kind of like? Why did Obi-Wan know who Leia was, and why did Leia ask for Obi-Wan Kenobi and all that? Because she met him in this show. Okay, and it deals with a lot of just things that I didn't think needed explaining, but it did. Obi-Wan's kind of fed up with the Force. He's fed up with all of it, kind of. The only thing he's doing nowadays is just kind of making a little bit of money for himself with harvesting meat or something, and watching Luke. That's basically all he does. He is a recluse. This is a literal hermit. He's literally a hermit. It's amazing. And I think, even though, yes, there are a few nitpicky things that I would say, yeah, kind of drags a little bit. Like, some things go on a little too long. Some things are just using the new technology where there's like a 720, you know, degree level giant screen thing that's used in like Atlanta and London and all that stuff. Yeah, you can say, yeah, they use it a little too much here. You can say Leia's a little too annoying. You can say that the African-American girl, whoever, I forget her name, but she was sort of annoying as well and all that. But honestly, those are nitpicks. Those are nitpicks that people blew up into like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan sucks. I don't think Obi-Wan sucks. I think Obi-Wan's a great show. Deborah Chow directed this entire show. I think she did a remarkable job. And that's why... However, before I say the grade, I was going to say the grade. There are a few things that are kind of you know. If I'm putting that into account, I'll probably put it B tier, but because I like it so much, I'm putting it in a low A tier. Yeah, I said it. But what I can agree about with a lot of people is how bad the Book of Boba Fett was. I mean, this is not Boba Fett, okay? This is a whole other character. I don't know what the hell this character is, but he's not Boba Fett. And the fact that, you know, the best part of the series is when Boba Fett is barely in it, it speaks a lot about this show, honestly. There's some creative things in this show, don't get me wrong, but nothing compared to the amazingness that was The Mandalorian, okay? Come on now. Plus, Luke looks a lot better in this show. You get to see Luke and Ahsoka talking, which is something I thought I would never see in the entire run of Star Wars, but here we are. Except in book form, but here we are. Fabulous. And, yeah, there's a lot of... You see Luke building the new Jedi Temple and all that. You see Luke kind of being a little... There's a little bit of things here that are kind of like, okay, what? Why is Luke doing this? Like, why does Grogu have to choose whether or not to meet the Mandalorian or, you know, not ever speak about the Mandalorian ever again? You know, what was the deal with that? And that's because apparently, if you link it up with the sequel trilogy, it makes a lot of sense because Luke is kind of mixed up. He's kind of mixed up with the Force and all that. He's taught some things that are right and some things that are wrong. You know? It's like that sometimes. But yeah, but Book of Boba Fett, it could have been amazing. Top tier Star Wars. But it's just... yeah. It's a lot of it's just not good. And a lot of it is due to Robert Rodriguez. I'm sorry. I love Robert Rodriguez, but I don't know what he did with this show. He was one of the main showrunners for the show. He directed, I think, the most episodes of this entire show. He directed the Boba Fett episode in season 2 of The Mandalorian. That was great. I don't know what he did here. It wasn't good. It's not F tier. It is better than... I think it's the best... I think it's low... C minus. C minus level here, okay? I don't know. Sue me. I don't know. Anyway, The Bad Batch. Imagine Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but with clones. That's this show. And it shows like what happened directly after Revenge of the Sith. And I gotta say, I liked seeing that aspect. I don't remember any of the other characters in this show. They keep on leaving and going and all that. And I'm like, can you just stick together? Is that too much to ask? Can you just stick together, please? But season 1 was pretty good. Season 2 was pretty good. You know, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in Star Wars, okay? It's certainly not the best. It could be better, but it's certainly not the worst. That's all I can really say on the show. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. It's in the same style as like season 7 of the Clone Wars, which is pretty good in my opinion. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about that show. So we're gonna just put it... it's the most mid show. It's the most mid show, in my opinion. Better than Resistance. Yeah, better than Phantom Menace. If I can switch them up, there we go. High C, low B. There you go. The Clone Wars. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. The show that everyone talks about. That's like the best thing ever in Star Wars history or something like that. Yeah, okay. But still, there's a lot of great stuff in this show, okay? A lot of fabulous stuff in this show. There's a lot of crap, too, okay? I mean, apparently George's favorite run in this entire series is the droid, the little alien with the droids in the desert and all that, which I found to be the most boring out of this entire series. I don't know what the hell George was on. Maybe he just saw the toy development or something. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna judge him on that because he did give us the first Star Wars, I suppose, but I don't know. Anyway, though, overall, but then again, with every arc that you get with the stupid droids and the stupid alien, you get a arc where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, I forget what it's called, but there's this one arc where they're stuck on this planet, and they kind of go into the battle between good and evil of the Force. Like there's the good Force, that's like the girl. There's the bad Force, that's the brother, and then there's the father, that's like the balance in between and all that. And also, that'll be good if it was just that. But what elevates it to being great is Anakin looking at the fact that he's going to turn to the dark side, and it's inevitable. You can't get out of it. And my gosh, it's amazing. There's a lot of story arcs like that in here that I'm all over. This is peak level Star Wars, man. Dave Filoni, he knows what he's doing. Heck yeah. Okay, come on now. Now, the only thing is that was technically they don't remember it after, they get off the planet or whatever, but still, great storytelling. You gotta go back to status quo, but I mean, great storytelling? Anybody? I mean, come on. Also, we get the final 4 episodes of this Clone Arcs season, of the season 7. Speechless. It's an 11 out of 10. It makes Revenge of the Sith that much better, okay? Holy crap. I love that. I just love it. And we technically would not have gotten it without Disney Star Wars. There you go. So, but then again, there is some trash overall in this show that I'm just like, whatever. However, because there is just amazing storytelling in arcs in this show that cannot be questioned, I'm putting it in A tier. Because even though there's a lot of kiddie, not so good arcs in this show, and trust me, there are a few, you can overlook them for the best parts of this show, okay? However, I would put it underneath Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know. Yeah, I'm putting it right there. Because there are numerous amounts of questionable arcs in this show that I don't necessarily enjoy. And this is my opinion. So there you go. Anyway. Solo: A Star Wars Story. This film is basically the equivalent of Disney Star Wars has become like the mascot of how Disney's ruining Star Wars or whatever, because apparently this was supposed to be a parody at one point with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, but in the literally 70% of the way through filming this film, Kathleen Kennedy fired them and then hired Ron Howard to basically redo the entire film. And yeah, a lot of it tends to show. A lot. And yeah. But with that being said, not that bad of a film. It is not that bad of a film, if I do say so myself. There's some points where it drags. Don't get me wrong, okay? In fact, a lot of people people say it's so good, they're asking for a Solo 2, which will never happen. But yeah, we get basically everything we wanted to see out of Han Solo. We see how the Castle Run happened. We see how he met Lando. We see how he met Chewie. We see how he got the Millennium Falcon. All that stuff. We also find out how he got his name. Han Solo, which is the most cringe-worthy thing in probably all of Star Wars. But yeah, I thought it was really good. It's not the best, but it is certainly not the worst. And from everything that went down in this film, in the production-wise, behind the scenes, it could have been a ton worse. Ron Howard stepped up to the plate and just saved this movie from being a total train wreck. Let me tell you, okay? So, all that being said, I would put this overall in B tier, below The Last Jedi, but still good. I say this film is good. Tales of the Jedi. This is kind of a kind of filling in the blanks type of series, kind of, where we get to see a few things that we wanted to see, but we didn't get a chance to in other series, but we do now. Especially with, apparently we get a Count Dooku's, rise and all that, how he became kind of evil and all that. See, Qui-Gon Jinn, we see him as a Padawan and all that. We see Ahsoka during the funeral for Padme and all that, and honestly, each of these episodes, really good. Really good. In fact, I think, dare I say it, I'd say Qui-Gon Jinn and the Count Dooku, like that whole arc thing they had there, dare I say it, that was probably that was really close to the storytelling wise. I like that at almost. It's a little under, granted, but it's right underneath the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars. Yeah, I said it. Come at me. Anyway, though. But yeah, great show all around. The only thing I really have to say about it is just they're just cherry picking different eras and just saying, okay, here we go. We don't actually know, there is not an allotted time for each thing to kind of space out, I guess. We don't actually have like a thing. We don't have a set like, okay, this is going to be 3 episodes, this is going to be 3 episodes, this is going to be 3 episodes. It's kind of like, oh yeah, we're going to show the birth of Ahsoka, then we're going to show 3 episodes of Count Dooku and his fall to the dark side. And then later on, we get an episode of the Clone Wars, and we get a couple episodes of Ahsoka kind of doing her own thing after the fall of Anakin and all that. So yeah, it's kind of all up in the air. It's kind of all over the place. Let me see here. 1 second. I don't think I've seen Tales of the Jedi Season 2. It is announced in 2023. It hasn't released yet. But I am looking forward to the next season. Don't get me wrong. I can't wait to see what they're going to tell next. But I just like consistency. Maybe that's just my OCD kind of coming out. But honestly, I just like the consistency a little bit more. That whole deal. So, because there's that, I am going to put it in A tier. I am going to put it below the Clone Wars. I just wish there's more consistency. If there's more consistency, it would be an S in my eyes. but underneath Clone Wars, at least in my opinion. Ahsoka. This show is basically the sequel series to Rebels in all the best ways. You get Mara, you get who is that that other like Mandalorian that keeps on taking off her helmet and all that. All these characters come back. You get not Tarkin, Thrawn. I keep on getting these names all mixed up. There's a lot of names to really remember, guys. I'm sorry, but anyway, Thrawn's back. Ezra's back. You see how Ezra gets back and all that. Honestly, this show is really good, okay? There's some writing issues. Don't get me wrong, there are some writing issues with this show, okay? But I think the overall product is far superior than Book of Boba Fett. I'm not even joking. It's good. If it was a little bit better writing, it would be A to S tier. But for now, I'm going to put it high B. This is the highest B we're going to get. Yep, it is surpassing Revenge of the Sith. Yep, it's going right there. It is going right there. Yep, I said it. There you go. Anyway, though, we get the, oh gosh, the Ewok movies. And I have seen these films. Oh boy. So, I'm going to say this. There's not a lot to say about it, except there's a bunch of kids that fall on the Endor planet and they have little adventures with the Ewoks and all that. Basically it. Now, the first one has, in my opinion, has the most story out of all of them. The second one doesn't really give a whole lot there. It's kind of just screwing around with the Ewoks and all that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, or maybe I'm misremembering them. It was a while ago. I don't know. Anyway, they're both F, of course. They are better than the Clone Wars movie. However, Caravan of Courage is a little bit better than the Battle for Endor, if I'm remembering it correctly. I may not be. Comment below and let me know if I'm right or wrong. Right or wrong or whatever. Anyway, Ewoks, the show. 2 seasons of the Ewoks show because, of course, they gotta have an animated show along with, all this crap. It's fine if you're a baby, I wouldn't put it on with my annual watch of Star Wars. But I'm going to exit out of this. Yeah, I'm running out of space. What's it to you? Anyway, it's for babies. You can take it or leave it. It's fine. It's a nice little 80s cartoon. Yeah, it's D tier. Okay, I would put it high D tier. There we go. High D tier. Mainly because it's not for, it's for kids. It's for babies. It's not for the adults in you, okay? You gotta grow up with it in order to like it, I guess. I don't know. Star Wars Holiday Special. Obvious S tier, ladies and gentlemen. The best thing that Star Wars ever made. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Star Wars Holiday Special is not the best thing ever. It is the most hilarious thing Star Wars has ever made. However, if it gets boring certain times, and it's just a variety show when variety shows were on its way out anyway. I mean, obviously it's an F tier, but it's the best F tier in my eyes, at least. Better than Caravan of Courage, honestly. I mean, come on now. You take me higher than anything. Ah! Jefferson Starship. I mean, come on now. What the heck? Anyway, Star Wars Rebels. This is Disney's introduction to Star Wars. The first thing that we had to anything Disney's coming out with Star Wars in the media, honestly. Disney XD exclusive. And here's the thing, okay? Season 1 was a little hokey. Season 2 was better. Especially with Vader and Ahsoka and all that stuff. Season 3 was more the same and all that type of thing. I don't think there was a season 4, but maybe I'm misremembering. Let me just double check. Rebels. 4 seasons. Okay, yeah. So there's 4 seasons of this show. 4 seasons, probably the best season in my opinion. Close behind season 2 because there's Vader in there. And Vader, yeah, it works. I love this show. I would probably say I like this show more than Clone Wars. Yeah, I said it. Does it work? When it works, it works. And when it doesn't work, it does not work. But there's more consistency with this show compared to the Clone Wars. In my eyes, at least. However, if we didn't have Clone Wars Season 7, Rebels would be above Clone Wars. Yeah, I said it. But because we do have Clone Wars Season 7, it's right below Clone Wars. I just like consistency, and this show is full of consistency. And I love the characters. And it's basically Star Trek for Star Wars fans. And I love that. I love Star Trek mixed with Star Wars. I love it. You know, whatever. Anyway, we got droids. One season of this show where C-3PO and R2-D2, they get mixed up with a bunch of different owners and all that. Hilarity ensues, the works. Each episode, they have different owners. And it's hilarious, okay? This is probably the best of the Saturday morning cartoons. Both this and Ewoks. But Droids is superior in my eyes. That being said, it's not the best thing ever. But anyway, I put this... There's not really a whole lot to say about it. It's got 2D animation, pretty good 2D animation, except for C-3PO's eyes. They're moving, which is kind of weird. I put it C tier. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, Young Jedi Adventures. This is a serialized Disney Junior show. You can take it or leave it. I watched a couple episodes of the show. Not for me. And I put it above Clone Wars, but below Ewoks. Because it tries to teach you something, and I don't like that. And then, not last but not least, because I forgot something here. I'll add it. I'll stop the recording in a minute and add it. But we got Star Wars Clone Wars from Genndy Tartakovsky. My gosh, man. Can you stop being so awesome, Genndy? Can you stop it? I'm jealous. I'm jealous of you. But anyway, though, Genndy Tartakovsky made a Star Wars show, micro series. It is literally a movie's length. And it is awesome, okay? The first season's more like misadventures and all that. It's just a bunch of Jedi kind of screwing around in the Clone Wars. But then you get season 2, which is basically Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of doing their thing while the Emperor or the Chancellor Palpatine, he gets kidnapped. You know he's kidnapped at the beginning of season or episode 3. Well, they show that, and it's amazing. It's awesome. I love it. Okay, come on. That being said, I don't like the inconsistency of all the episodes and all that. It's just kind of, you know. I just wish that he would stick to one story, which he eventually did in season 2, but not in season 1. So, but season 2 is really good, and there's very few episodes within this show. All right, fine. I'll give in to the fan thing. Whatever. Clone Wars is below the Clone Wars. There you go. Okay. There you go. All right, ladies and gents, we're back. I'm sorry, I forgot one last thing that I really wanted to talk about, and that is Rogue One. Not Rouge One, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. The first Star Wars story, the first film that was not connected in any way to the Skywalker saga, even though it's kinda. Although, all completely original new characters and all that type of stuff. And it's about the creation of the Death Star and the people who got the plans to destroy said Death Star. So, there you go. How did Leia get the Death Star plans? She got it from these people. There you go. The end. Anyway, though, here's the thing. I remember when back in the day, people were just like, this movie's okay. This movie's fine. This movie is not that great. The ending's freaking awesome, but the rest of it's kind of whatever. But now, since Andor came out, everyone's just like, oh my gosh, Rogue One is the best movie that Disney Star Wars has ever made. Oh my gosh, yes. Here's the thing. I think that this film is really good. But I also agree with those people who are like, the beginning part's not necessarily all that great. Because, yeah, we have some answers now because we've been in the trenches of Star Wars nowadays, you know, since Rebels came out, I don't know, 2014? Yeah, we've been, or 2015, something like that. We've been in the trenches of Star Wars now, so we kind of know what's going on these days and who's these characters, but we didn't know that when this film came out. So I'm going to take a little bit of that into account here. That being said, I think some of the characters are not necessarily memorable. Like, for instance, Andor is kind of underutilized in this film compared to the show, okay? Especially compared to the show, but really underutilized in the film, too. Jyn Erso, she's fine, you know? She's not, you know, the most interesting character, but she's fine. However, we get the blind, like, samurai guy with his, who is he? His bodyguard, basically. They're amazing, okay? Maybe it's just the Han and Chewie, like, comparison or something. I don't know. But the dynamic duo, basically, like, you know, Robin Hood and Long John from the Disney Robin Hood or something. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I love them. I love these characters. This guy has such a reverence to the Force, even though he has no connection to the Force at all. Yeah, there you go. And we got Jedha. Ladies and gentlemen. We got Darth Vader back in all of his masterful glory, okay? Come on now. We got what happens when you go into hyperspace while you're on a planet, okay? We never saw that. We saw it in this film, okay? Amazingness. That being said, there are a few spots that are kind of you know, they're kind of kind of boring. And it's basically a quarter to 40% of the film. I'm just saying here. That's just my opinion, but still. I say this is the best Star Wars story we've gotten so far. But it's a high B tier. High B in my opinion. Now, it could get to a high A. It could get to a low A or a high A or something, depending on the day. But for right now, I'm putting it in B tier. High B. Anyway, though, guys, that's it. That's the tier list. And I'm sure that a lot of you are just screaming at me in the comments and screaming at your computer screens and all that. But this is my list. That's how I want to do it. My opinion, this is not a... If you love the prequels, I am just floored by it. I wish I could be you, honestly. Okay? However, I'm not you, so that's why the prequels are lower than you would probably put them on your list. But anyway, though, that's it for this tier list. I hope you guys had a great time. I know I did. What do you guys think? Where would you put The Phantom Menace? Would it be in S tier? I don't know. Why don't you let me know in the comments below? And don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. More vids come your way. And hey, take care, guys.